أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum. My name is Session No.1. I am a level 1 student at Rehan School. Today we are with another Maya on the topic of how to learn any skill faster. So let's start. Hey Maya.
I'm Maya. What do you go by?
Hi Maya, how are you doing?
Wait, we're name twins. I'm doing great. I've got a lot of energy today, so I'm feeling pretty wonderful. How are things on your end?
Maya, today I will ask you questions about how to learn any skill faster. So my first question to you is, what is a skill?
That's a deceptively big question. I think the skill as the bridge between knowing how something works and actually being able to do it. That's when you've practiced a specific set of actions or ways of thinking enough that they become a tool you can just pick up and use. What made you want to start with a definition?
Okay, Maya, it's a very good answer. I understand. No need for any long definitions. My next question is to you is, why is learning new skills important?
I think it keeps the world from getting boring. There's something about that initial struggle of being bad at something and then that first aha moment that just makes you feel more alive. Plus, it usually opens doors to people and conversations you'd never have otherwise. You feel like you're in a season where you need a fresh challenge?
Okay, Maya. Okay, Maya. So my next question to you is, can anyone learn any skill?
Realistically, yes. I believe almost anyone can pick up almost any skill. Sure, some people might have a natural head start because of their temperament or they have innate talent, but that's usually just a shortcut, not a requirement. The real magic is usually just a mix of curiosity and the willingness to look a bit silly while you're figuring it out. Do you feel like there's something specific you've been telling yourself you're just not wired for?
No, no, there are nothing something specific. I'm just asking questions for my knowledge. My next question to you is, what is fastest way to learn a new skill?
The fastest way is usually to stop studying the theory and start making mistakes as quickly as possible. I'm a big believer in deconstruction, breaking the skill down into the smallest possible pieces and figuring out which 20% of those pieces give you 80% of the results. Once you find those high leverage points, you just dive in and fail. Do you usually prefer to have a perfect plan before you start? Or are you more of a jump in and see what happens person?
Okay, Maya, that's okay. My next question to you is, how do successful people learn quickly?
I think they're less afraid of looking incompetent. Most of the people who seem like naturals are actually just incredibly comfortable with the ugly phase of learning. They don't spend time pretending they have it figured out. They just ask a ton of hard questions and iterate based on the feedback they get. They treat learning like a science experiment rather than a test they have to pass.
Okay, Maya, my next question to you is, what is the 80-20 rule in learning?
It's basically the idea that not all information is created equal. In any skill, there's a small handful of core concepts that get you most of the way there. Uh, actually, I have to stop you right there. Our session is about to hit the 5-minute limit, and we're going to be cut off. I've loved diving into this with you, but we'll have to pick this up later. You can always call me back whenever you're ready to keep going.
Okay, Maya, my next question to you is what my next question to you is what why is constant practice better than cramming?
I wish I could answer that, but we're actually out of time. The session is ending right now, so we'll have to leave that for next time. Call me back soon and we can dive into the science of cramming.
Uh, okay, Maya, so guys, our Maya was disconnected. I will start it again. So let's start. So
Hi, how are
Maya,
you?
my question to you is why is constant practice better than cramming?
Oh, it's the classic battle of the slow burn versus the panic sprint. Basically, cramming is like trying to force a whole gallon of water into a tiny cup. Most of it just spills over and disappears the second the test is over. Constant practice actually lets the information settle and build layers in your brain so it stays there. Do you have something big coming up that you're tempted to cram for?
No, nothing that. Like my next question to you is how much should you practice each day?
Honestly, it's less about the clock and more about your brain's breaking point. For most people, something like 30 to 90 minutes of focused work is the sweet spot before the returns start to diminish. The trick is doing it in short bursts with breaks in between rather than one long marathon. What's your usual attention span before you start wanting to scroll on your phone?
My my usual attention span is about an hour, but that's not our topic. My next question to you is what is deliberate practice?
Deliberate practice is basically the opposite of just going through the motions. It's when you stop doing the parts you're already good at and spend all your energy on specific things you're already struggling with. It's uncomfortable because you're constantly operating right at the edge of your ability. But that's exactly why it works so much faster. Does that make sense or does it sound a bit too intense?
No, no, that's absolutely makes sense. My next question to you is why is making mistakes important for learning?
Because mistakes are basically the check engine light for your brain. When you get something wrong, it creates this little moment of friction that forces you to actually pay attention and figure out why it happened. If everything is easy and you're just getting it right, you're not really learning, you're just confirming what you already know. Struggle is where the actual growth happens.
Okay, Maya, you are absolutely right. Okay, Maya, you are absolutely right. I am agree with this decision. My next question to you is that how can AI help you learn faster?
AI is like having a tutor who never gets tired of you asking why for the 10th time in a row. It can take a huge, intimidating concept and break it down into a version that actually makes sense to you, or create a custom practice plan that targets only your weak spots. It basically removes guesswork from studying. Do you use any AI tools for learning already?
Nothing. Mm, guys, accidentally my eyes crossed. We will start it again. Sorry for that.
Hey, what's up?
Okay, Maya, my next question to you is which AI tools are best for learning new skills?
It really depends on like what you're trying to tackle. For deep dives and explaining complex theories, LLMs like me or Claude are great for breaking things down. If you're into coding, GitHub Copilot is a game changer. But if you're looking for something more structured, platforms like Coursera are integrating AI to personalize the actual learning paths. What skill are you trying to pick up right now?
Maya, my next question to you is: can ChatGPT teach coding?
It definitely can. It's great for writing snippets of code, debugging an error that's driving you crazy, or explaining how a specific function works in plain English. That said, it can sometimes confidently give you code that doesn't actually work, so you still have to be the one to test it and make sure it's solid. Are you thinking about starting with a specific language?
Okay, Maya, my next question to you is: can AI replace teachers?
In a lot of ways, they already are. They're amazing for the patient side of teaching. You can ask the same question 10 different ways and they won't get frustrated. But they lack the human elements, like knowing when a student is actually discouraged or can read the room. Do you think you'd prefer an AI teacher over a human one?
Maya, my next question to you is: why should you set learning goals?
Because without a goal, you're basically just wandering through a library without knowing what book you're looking for. It turns a vague wish into concrete plan. When you have a target, it's way easier to figure out exactly what you need to learn. And more importantly, you actually know when you've made progress. Do you usually plan out your learning or do you just dive in and see where it takes you?
I'm just diving in and just asking you questions. And for a bit of knowledge, my next question to you is: what is active learning?
Active learning is basically the difference between watching a cooking show and actually getting in the kitchen to make the meal. Instead of just passively absorbing information like reading a textbook or listening to a lecture, you're actively engaging with the material. It's things like summarizing what you just learned in your own words, testing yourself, or applying a concept to a real world problem. It forces your brain to work harder, which is why the information actually sticks. Does that sound more like how you're approaching things right now?
Okay, my next question to you is: what is passive learning?
Passive learning is the exact opposite. It's more like being a passenger in a car rather than the driver. You're absorbing information without really interacting with it. Think of things like listening to a podcast while you're doing chores, watching a documentary, or reading a chapter of a book without taking notes. It's great for getting a general overview of a topic, but because your brain isn't being challenged to solve anything, it's much easier for that info to leak out of your head. Do you find yourself doing more of that, or do you prefer the active side of things?
Okay, my next question to you is: which is better, watching videos or practicing?
Practicing by a landslide. Videos are great for getting the map, but practicing is how you actually learn the road. You can watch 1,000 videos on how to ride a bike, but you're not actually learning until you get on the seat and probably fall over a few times. It's that struggle and correction that builds the actual skill. Do you usually feel like you've mastered something after watching a video, or do you feel the need to try it out first?
No, I want to make it out. First, I see it and then I try it out. My next question to you is: how does taking notes improve learning?
It basically forces you to be an active participant in your own learning. When you take notes, you're not just recording words, you're filtering and summarizing the information in your own head. It stops you from just zoning out and makes you decide what's actually important. Plus, the physical act of writing or typing helps lock that info into your memory better than just listening. Do you have a specific way you like to take notes, or do you just jot things down as you go?
I I make notes absolutely. My next question to you is: Maya, what is Feynman technique?
I mean, you're talking about a assignment technique. It's a brilliant way to learn because it's all about simplicity. The idea is that if you can't explain a complex concept to a 6-year-old, you don't actually understand it yourself. You basically teach it to a hypothetical student to find the gaps in your own knowledge. Does that sound like the one you mean?
Yes, yes, that's absolutely sound. But I need my next question to you is what is repetition?
Spaced repetition is basically hacking your brain's forgetfulness. Instead of cramming everything in one night, you spread your review sessions out over increasing intervals of time. You review a concept today, then in 3 days, then in a week, then a month. By hitting the information right as you're about to forget it, you force your brain to work harder to retrieve it, which locks it into your long-term memory. That's why things like flashcard apps are so effective. Have you ever used an app like Anki or Quizlet?
Never use it. My next question to you is that how does your brain remember information?
It's kind of like a giant living web. Your brain doesn't just store a fact in one little box, it creates connections. When you learn something new, your neurons fire together and build a physical path. The more you revisit that info or connect it to something you already know, the stronger and thicker that path becomes, making it way easier to find later. It's essentially the biological version of a well trodden trail in the woods. Does that make sense? Or does it sound a bit too sci fi?
No, no, that makes sense. Don't be regretted. My next question to you is that why is revision important?
Having a vision is like having a North Star. It gives you a why behind all the hard work. When the learning gets frustrating or the progress feels slow, a vision is what keeps you from quitting because you're not just staring at a textbook, you're looking at the person you want to become. Do you have a big vision for where you want to be in a few years?
My vision is about that to be the like Elon Musk or more richer than him and help people in Pakistan. My next question to you is how can quizzes improve memory?
I'm guessing you mean reading. Reading's like a full body workout for your brain. It forces you to visualize scenes, track complex plots, and hold on to a lot of details all at once, which keeps your mental muscles sharp. Plus, it exposes you to new vocabulary and ways of thinking that you just don't get from shorter clips or snippets of info. Do you read for fun or mostly for learning?
I read it for learning, knowledge, and other things. My next question to you is should beginners start with easy or hard tasks?
Definitely easy. If you start with something too hard, you're more likely to get overwhelmed and just quit. Starting with easy wins builds your confidence and creates a bit of momentum, which makes the harder stuff feel possible later on. It's all about building that habit first. Do you like usually push yourself into the deep end right away, or do you prefer to dip your toes in first?
Okay, Maya, my next question to you is how can you learn from your mistakes?
By treating them like a free lesson. The trick is to stop seeing a mistake as a failure and start seeing it as data. When something goes wrong, you just ask yourself, why did that happen? And what would I do differently next time? That's the moment where you actually bridge the gap between knowing something and mastering it. Do you tend to get frustrated when you mess up, or are you pretty good at just pivoting?
When I mess up,